Welcome to our latest Wandering Walks of Wonder Museum tour. Today we're headed to the Strategic Air Command and Space Museum in Ashland, Nebraska. The Strategic Air Command and Aerospace Museum is home to one of the largest collections of Cold War aircraft and artifacts in the United States. Established in 1959, the original mission of the museum commemorated the contributions of the Strategic Air Command, which was headquartered at nearby Offutt Air Force Base until 1992. A completion of this new facility occurred in 1998 and houses an impressive collection of military aircraft and space artifacts. Our tour begins here in Hangar A, which is a treasure trove of aviation history, showcasing a range of aircraft that illustrate the evolution and milestones of military aviation, particularly focusing on the Cold War era. One of the first aircraft that we see on display is the B-17G, or the Flying Fortress. This is the rock star of World War II bombers. Just look at it, those four massive engines and those iconic gun turrets sticking out like a metal porcupine. You can't help but feel a sense of awe at this airplane. This first exhibit that we're walking through is called Courage from Above, Strategic Bombers of World War II. In this gallery, we'll explore a number of displays that are set around 5 historic aircraft and learn the story of the strategic bombing doctrine and strategy development of the strategic bombing campaigns in both the European and Pacific theaters during World War II.
The United States was at peace with that nation, and at the solicitation of Japan, was still in conversation with its government and its emperor, looking toward the maintenance of peace in the Pacific. The attack yesterday on the Hawaiian Islands has caused severe damage to American naval and military forces. I regret to tell you that very many American lives have been lost. In addition, American ships have been reported torpedoed on the high seas between San Francisco and Honolulu. This commander-in-chief of the Army of Navy, I am grateful to all members of the Navy.
Designed to serve with the Strategic Air Command as a long-range escort and penetration fighter, the F-101 was developed subsequently for both tactical and air defense roles. At the time of its introduction into service, it was the heaviest single-seat fighter ever accepted by the United States Air Force. This exhibit explores the role of the Tuskegee Airmen in military history. The Tuskegee Airmen hold a distinguished place in the annals of American history as the first African American military aviators in the United States Armed Forces. Their story is not just one of aerial combat, but also a compelling narrative about overcoming prejudice and segregation. During World War II, these airmen were part of an experiment by the U.S. Army Air Corps to see if African Americans could serve as successful military pilots. This experiment took place at Tuskegee Army Airfield in Alabama, hence the name Tuskegee Airmen. The Tuskegee Airmen were awarded many honors for their service, including the Congressional Gold Medal in 2007, one of the highest civilian awards in the United States. Their courage, skill, and determination in the face of adversity serve as an enduring inspiration and a testament to the fight for equality and civil rights. The Doolittle Raid, conducted on April 18, 1942, was a significant morale-boosting mission for the United States during World War II. It was the first air raid to strike the Japanese islands, showing that America itself was vulnerable to American air attacks. This audacious operation was led by Lieutenant Colonel James Jimmy Doolittle, and it involved launching 16 Army Air Force B-25 bombers from the deck of the USS Hornet to attack Tokyo and other targets on the Japanese main islands. The B-25 Mitchell was the most adaptable of any medium bomber during World War II. The basic design allowed it to be converted into a gunship with no major airframe redesign. A 75mm cannon could easily be mounted in a cradle beneath the pilot seat, which was originally a crawlway for the bombardier. Having proved to be more versatile than the Martin B-26 Marauder, the B-25 was given the role in the Pacific as an attack bomber and strafing aircraft.
The plane that largely stole the thunder of the B-36 had been under development since the latter stages of World War II. Literally half the wingspan and weight, the B47 Strato Jet had 6 blades and swept-back wings, adopted from German technology that gave it an unexcelled speed of 650 miles per hour. The first XB-47 made its impressive test flight in December 1937.
The B-36 is a six-wing engine giant that served as a strategic bomber for the United States Air Force from the late 1940s to the 1950s. Described as a mega bomber by engineers, the B-36 was the largest bomber ever built. Created in World War II, it could fly across the Pacific Ocean and up to 40,000 feet in altitude outside the range of enemy detection and drop bombs without building a sweat. How much could it carry? Well, walk around and you can see how much this guy can handle. The B-36 was designed to carry up to 86,000 pounds of bombs. That's about the same weight as 8.5 RVs, dumpsters, or 43 rhinoceroses. The Air Force flew two high-altitude radar reconnaissance variants of this highly successful and ever-present Martin RB-57 from mid-1956 through 1960. The RB-57 was Britain's first operational jet propulsion bomber. It was manufactured continuously for 12 years and has served a dozen nations in several roles. In the United States, Martin copied the English electric Canberra to produce the B-57 as a tactical strike aircraft, which was the first American-built unit flying in 1953. In this exhibit, we learn about the life and legacy of General Curtis LeMay. He is the iconic leader of the Strategic Air Command. During his 9 years as Commander-in-Chief, General LeMay turned SAC into a highly professional and effective nuclear-capable military force that enabled the United States to win the Cold War. This exhibit features General LeMay's World War II pilot's flight case, complete with aviation charts, navigational tools, and manuals, as well as his flight jacket and his desk from days at Offutt Air Force Base. The B-58 Hustler saw great success during its relatively short service career. It was the first supersonic bomber and the first bomber to reach Mach 2. It was also the first aircraft made a stainless steel honeycomb sandwich and the first aircraft to have stellar inertial navigation. The B-58 also set more world speed records than any other type of combat aircraft. The B-47 Strato Jet was what's known as the cool kid of World War II bombers. Just take a look at those sleek, swept-back wing designs as well as the engines themselves. The B-47 set a high-flying standard that's still present in aircraft design today, and it's all about the wings. At the end of World War II, Boeing engineers took a look at German aircraft technology and decided to improve upon it. Building on the German swept wing design, which is a wing that's angled backwards or sometimes forward from where it's attached to the rest of the plane, Boeing changed the angle a bit and enhanced the performance of the jet. The MiG-23 is a Russian fighter, and it remains a significant chapter in the history of military aviation that represents the technological advancements and strategic doctrines of its time. Its introduction and widespread use underscore the dynamic nature of aerial combat and military technology during the latter half of the 20th century.
Right? Yeah, it's crashed a couple times.
We're now heading into Hangar B, which showcases the evolution of aircraft and spacecraft, highlighting key developments in the history of aviation and space exploration. The C-119, or cargo plane, was specifically designed in 1941 and first flown in 1947. It was the first American aircraft designed during World War II specifically for a fast, mobile cargo carrying function. The C-54 aircraft, affectionately known as the Skymaster, holds a special place in aviation history as a reliable workhorse that played a crucial role in post-World War II operations. Introduced in the late 1940s, the four-engine transport plane was a military workhorse that could carry both cargo and personnel across long distances. The MiG-21F, often referred to as the fish bed, is a legendary aircraft that has left an indelible mark on aviation history. Hailing from the Soviet Union, this supersonic jet fighter entered service in the 1960s and quickly became an iconic symbol of Cold War military might. Think of the C-47 SkyTrain cargo plane like the roomy, ready-for-anything high-flying SUV that everybody wants. C-47s, also known as SkyTrains, were essential to the U.S. military efforts from the 1940s all the way through the 1970s. It's no wonder over 10,000 were built and flown during that time. One of the most iconic airplanes here in Hangar B is the B29 Bomber. Flying in with a wingspan of over 140 feet, that's about 5 school buses bumper to bumper, the B-29 was the heaviest of heavy bombers in World War II. The most advanced bomber aircraft at the time, it could fly faster and carry more payload further than the B-17s. They were primarily used in the systematic bombing of Japan during the latter end of World War II, and even used to drop the war-ending atomic bombs at Nagasaki and Hiroshima. During the Cold War, when nuclear warfare was at a constant threat, many world powers were eyeing each other and asking, are you going to make a move first, or should I? Which meant the U.S. had to think of every worst case post nuclear attack scenario. They asked, what if our military command centers get bombed and there's no safe place on the ground to control our nuclear forces? American Cold War strategists found their answer in the sky through the Looking Glass mission. The Looking Glass mission created a backup military air center in the air, ensuring a fully equipped military base flew through the skies 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. We're now entering the Space Gallery. Here you'll find artifacts ranging from satellites to moon capsules and astronaut equipment. Back in the 1960s, the space race was in full swing, fueled by the rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union. It all began with the Explorer 1 satellite, the first American satellite launched in 1958, in response to the Soviet Union's successful launch of Sputnik in 1957. This marked the dawn of the space era, and soon after, the Mercury program took flight. Astronauts like Alan Shepard and John Glenn became household names as they bravely ventured into space, paving the way for the ambitious Apollo missions.
And I just threw my money down, grabbed my paper, and walked out, got the car, and started crying. And as you can tell, I'm getting a little choked up right now talking about it. You know, then I realized what we've been doing, what had happened. But I haven't until that moment. We had pictures. One of my sitting in the control center, area, that was great. Really.
This exhibit celebrates Clayton Anderson from Nebraska. Anderson is a retired NASA astronaut who was part of several international space station expeditions. Today, he's an author, motivational speaker, but more importantly, he's CEO of the Strategic Air Command and Aerospace Museum that we've been walking around today. I hope you've enjoyed this Wandering Walks of Wonder tour here through the Strategic Air Command and Aerospace Museum in Ashland, Nebraska. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you on our next Wondering Walks of Wonder walking tour, history tour, museum tour, and much more. Take care now. Bye-bye.